fucking podcasting right now.
I've been getting into podcasts.
That's the podcast?
This could be a podcast.
Your podcasts.
I've also listened to several podcasts.
The portable podcast edition.
I got you a podcast.
Podcast? That's still a thing?
Yeah.
Always murder podcast.
Podcast too loud.
I'm doing a podcast.
It's called a podcast.
Look, I have a podcast.
Because I like podcasts.
Oh, it is a fairly influential podcast.
Your podcast is a mess.
Pretend podcasting isn't boring.
I'm busy with my podcast anyways.
Welcome to the Snobs podcast.
What's up? Welcome to the Snobs podcast, Classic Lit and History Day. Woo! The song's not great, but I want to take off this mask because my face is fat.
But your mask looks beautiful because you're an attractive man.
You know what it is? I disagree because it looks like my face is trying to retreat from the bottom of this helmet.
No, it looks like you were once a great warrior in your 20s and you were told that you have to return. And they're like, hey, man, we need you back. I know you're in your 40s, but we just need your presence on the battlefield. And you're like, I'll wear my old things. And you put them on and you're like, shit, babe, do we have a better version? No, fuck.
Anything a little bigger? My head, this thing shrunk around my same sized head from when I'm 20.
Love it.
Oh my God. Well, guys, it is. I can't even scratch my nose. The Greeks, they did not do this right.
Yeah,
they didn't do this right. I get it, but I don't think the Knights did it either. I think we're good now.
Yeah, just having a big flak helmet and, some stuff to protect. And then, the collar thing for the bomb guys. Yeah, it's plenty.
It got really good in World War II. Green helmet. You're good.
Green helmet, man. That's all you need. With the cool webbing and everything on top of it, you're set, bro.
And what are you going to do? Write on it. Born to kill.
Yeah, born to kill.
Once you get into the 60s, that's when you're there.
Then the occasional peace sign and stuff. No, it works. It works. But hey, man, look, it's not like mine had any protection either. What I'm wearing here was not exactly, top of the line when you're out in the bush. It doesn't protect you from snakes, jaguars, anything really. Maybe mosquitoes because they would just take and flop it around. That's about the protection you got.
You know what every lion has said when they've seen those?
Delicious.
Hey, look, food. And it's showing itself to us in a color that doesn't exist in our natural habitat. I never understood. Okay, this is coming up. My head is way too fat for this. I'll put it back on later, but right now I want to talk to you, and I can't even see you without my glasses. So, see, this is it. This is where we've established the best part of humanity.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Not helmets, hats.
We made the hat perfect.
I will tell you, safari outfits, how do they work? They show everything. There's no camouflage. It doesn't look like the desert. I've seen the desert.
Well, that's why Ghost in the Darkness always gets me. Because that's the one of the prime hunters going after people, being hunted by the prey, and I love that for that sake. But you're right. The outfits are terrible. I mean, aside from Val Kilmer looking cool with an elephant gun, there's nothing else going on. That's all you got.
But Val Kilmer wanted them to come after him.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't hiding. But these safari guys who hide behind stuff, or oh my God, the new age safari guys who are dentists and go out there and kill sick lions, or just the really idiots, the morons. Mm-hmm. And they go out there and they're dressed like they're ready to go to Iraq.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And it's what do we do? Do we lose this plot? Who you are? I miss the days when badasses were clear.
It was obvious. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the guys who were boisterous and pretended to be badass. No. We knew they weren't, because then you get some dude who walks in and it's as a John Henry dude, I'm not messing with.
Well, and that's why I always thought medics and stuff like that were more badass, because they're literally choosing to throw themselves into the line of fire to grab other people and get them out. That's the most badass thing you can do, man.
Yeah. Firefighters. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
They run into fires.
You're fighting a natural force. You're not fighting another natural force. Human. Yeah.
And natural force versus natural force generally creates chaos.
Oh, absolutely. That's what steam and smoke and all the other things are. That is pure chaos.
It's just the beauty of firefighters. They're amazing, and I love them.
Mm-hmm. That's why I always will go back and say Hemingway was one of the ultimate badasses.
He was
aside from the safari kills, which both of them did, and I understood why they did it. I get it. It was a thing of the time. We've moved past it. We've gotten smarter theoretically, but they were also men who stood up and stood tall and did the thing. Teddy Roosevelt got shot, finished a speech.
I know. There's some few people, like Hemingway was always like, he was my guy.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, like, I know Roosevelt was always your guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Writing aspect of Hemingway, going down to the Keys and visiting his place and everything. Like, there's an energy there that I think probably Teddy Roosevelt had too. You walk in there, you're going to be like, these guys did some things. Now, am I for hunting? No. But also, like, I support transgender rights. I may not fully understand them. I'm trying, but I may not fully ever understand. But I'm still going to support your right to be who you are. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to hunting, and I'm correlating, get with me on this. Not the same, not correlating the two things. That tolerance thing goes for every group, but it's the idea of hunters. I've met stupid ass hunters who go out and literally are doing things that there's no like spirituality to it. And I'm not saying it has to be a spiritual like feel to it, but there really is. Like, I can appreciate those guys I knew who went out and hunted, and it's not so much for the game. Yeah, they're eating it, they're doing what they have to do with it, they're living off the land, that's who they are. And they do everything themselves, or they may sell the meat or do something like that. Yeah, so that's another thing that I may not fully understand it, but I get it. And if you're not abusing it and you're not killing endangered animals and things like that, there are stipulations. And I think a lot of hunters who take it seriously and treat it as maybe more than a hobby, I can respect this something like that, because as much as people want to bitch about like people who do go out and hunt for food and things like that, it's like, you'll eat at McDonald's. Oh, shut the fuck up.
I mean, absolutely. And that's why I agree with that, because I think there was an aspect of hunting that people don't always necessarily fully grasp, especially if you didn't grow up on a farm or with those in that area or in that mentality where it is important to cull certain herds. Like, we have an overabundance of deer. It's important to cull those so that the way the sick, and we've gotten rid of the natural predators who help weed out the sickness and stuff. So there's absolutely, once again, hearkening back to the Teddy Roosevelt conservationists who hunt, there's a reason for that. Yeah. It makes sense. Now, cattle farmers who are killing wolves, that's a problem, because you're taking out the natural predator. You just need to be better about how to use deterrence or accept some losses. I think there's that kind of deal there. But as far as in the wild ones, there are certain times when there's too many coyotes. There might be an overpopulation. Well, too many predators in a place can also cause harm. So if you're going to balance the scales, as long as it's done for the sake of balancing whatever your ecosystem is, I'm all in. I'm 100% about it. But like you said, if you're farming ivory or rhino horns or whatever it is, that's disgusting. That's deplorable. That's unacceptable. That's too much. That's the bridge too far that I will never cross. And quite frankly, at this point in our lives, there's no need for that. There's not a need. No one has been able to show me or prove to me that there's a need for it. So stop doing it. It's unnecessary. Oh, really? That giraffe was going to attack a whole town? Piss off.
That giraffe will never attack a town, you idiots. Giraffes are majestic creatures, and I'm tired of people treating them. Why do you always got to pick on the tall? Yeah,
right? What's up with that? And the big, like, why don't you go after hippos? Why don't we have that?
I'm wearing a gray shirt right now. I would not want to get killed in this moment.
No, that's fair.
My fat ass and just be like, but hey, it's a hippo.
The difference is you are not a hippo because you can't open your mouth that wide.
When I wear my...
That's how we know. That's the test.
That's not what Gary said. No, I'm just kidding.
I know you said you were out of town this weekend and like doing the family reunion thing. So I could just imagine you waiting in the water and like trying to come out and oh God, he's going full hippo.
Seriously, dude, whenever I wear a gray shirt, all I hear is that guy must be hungry. Let's feed him some marbles.
Quick, smack his back. I know how to do this.
It's just you on my back, tapping my head as hard as you can.
Go faster. Where's the marble? Oh, God.
I want to, we have Bronson here. Bronson is one of our patron supporters. Appreciate you, Bronson. I'm going to try and answer your questions. He was over on the AMA earlier, and it was fun. But he brings up Ron Williams played Teddy Roosevelt in the Night of the Museum movies. So I want to ask you, being such a Teddy Roosevelt aficionado, A, how was that performance?
Okay.
B, what's your favorite performance in maybe a movie or show where they played Teddy Roosevelt? Mm-hmm. And C, who do you think out of the slate of actors today would be good to play Teddy Roosevelt? And I'm just going to give you my choice for that, Kenneth Branagh. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So the first two are actually the same, because I loved Robin Williams' version of Teddy Roosevelt. And I have watched some behind the scenes and interviews with Robin Williams because I love Robin Williams. Like, oh, hey, how are you? So he's always been I've always been a big fan of his. The way he handled Teddy Roosevelt was bloody spot on. It was perfect because he was braggadocious. He had the bravado, but he also had a heart. And I think that's the big part that people forget is he was Teddy Bear. He had a huge heart. He really did care. Now, mind you, it's difficult to correlate morals of 100 years ago to today. It's just very difficult to do that, and to fairly do it and justly do it. It's difficult.
And if I can add one element to what you're saying and say that it's also hard and difficult to correlate what he was going through and the decisions he had to make in that time to today.
Correct. Yes. I mean, so many people look, he was part of American imperialism with the Great White Fleet, because back in the 19-teens, when he was Secretary of the Navy, they did paint it white. They did go take Guam. They did go take American Samoa. He was part of imperialism. So there is a taint there because I struggle with a lot of that. At the same token, when he was president, I agreed a lot with what he was trying to do and what he was trying to push and try to be better for the everyman and the conservation of our land, because he realized how industrialization was going to eventually take over everything. And we're kind of there with data centers now, if you want to have that correlation. So we need another Teddy, and he also was very anti corporate money being in the elections. He was like, the elections are for the people. They shouldn't be entities like that. So I was always a fan of that. So I think the Robin Williams portrayal is done so well and done throughout different movies, even when he's looking at what happened afterwards. I loved his retrospective. I believe it was the second one where he kind of talks to him about where we are today versus where he was expecting us to be. And that's sort of a letdown, but also an understanding of growth and moving forward and what a society goes through. Like, it's a really neat way he does it. And it's done very subtly, but he really lays it on thick. If you are paying attention, he is putting it out there while making you laugh immediately. That was the problem is with that version is that he does make you laugh immediately after having the serious moment. And it's Robin Williams. So you remember the joke maybe more than the story he was telling.
And to your credit and what you're saying too, and just from a different side of the human element of it too, is like we also get a lot of these historical figures. And it's not like I'm going to be like, all right, Hitler's misunderstood or anything. That dude was a piece of garbage.
Yeah. Because
he was a narcissist throughout. But like he was also something else. He was a soldier. He was a painter. So like I do think we need to take that into account. But I think everything gets jumbled into the worst thing you've done or the handful of bad things you've done. And like with Teddy Roosevelt, a lot of the great things he did in his life was spanned out, not just as president. It was his whole life. Like he did some really amazing things. And in those times, like changed who he was, changed how he thought about things, became wiser. I can't even imagine the stupid crap I did in my 20s, like going over now. Not that they were like getting canceled or any of that or whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't go to jail, but it would be like, it's like, yeah, but at the time that was like normal.
And that's once again why it's difficult to look through history with the lens of today's morality, because we have grown and become more open and aware of what happened and how we got to this point, especially through that era, because everything that was under wraps or secret or classified, we know everything now. We are fully aware of what they were trying to do, what they successfully did. So there are moments of like, hey, the Battle of San Juan, the Rough Riders were amazing. If you're a military guy, what Teddy did, fantastic. It was beautiful. And he was always about his men and the fastest way to end the conflict to have the fewest losses. That's what more could you ask for from a commander? But he also wanted to ride bravely at the front. He wanted to do dumb shit. He was also a bit...
You're going to make bad decisions sometimes.
That's true. When you're handed a shit sandwich, you got to figure out how to eat it. Am I right?
I'm fine with the president making 2 or 3 bad decisions in a term or 2 terms or something like that.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Nobody's perfect. I completely understand nobody's perfect. Mistakes are going to be made. And at the time, it might not be considered a mistake. It could be the popular decision. But that's because people are idiots. People are dumb. So when you have that one dissenting, not having a dissenting voice is a problem. And that's something that Teddy loved. Now, he didn't like, it was a respect thing. So he didn't want you to dissent like in front of Congress. He would have had a problem with that. However, right, if you pulled him aside and said, hey, man, here's the thing, he would listen. John Muir, famously one of the big wilderness conservatives of the time, he went to Teddy And he was like, I know you're into this. You're a hunter. You believe in this. Let me explain what our landscape looks like. And he traveled with him and he worked with him and he understood, and it was anti-corporate involvement, which kind of led Teddy to be where he was with his ideal, so he was very open to things. Now, at the same token, he's the guy who said, speak softly, carry big sticks. So violence was a thing. You were still down for violence. Back in those days, you punch a dude in the freaking head. You didn't worry about assault charges. That wasn't a thing. So little different.
Wow.
Okay.
Bronson's question, though, he says, what are your guys' thoughts on Robin Williams as the wax version of Teddy Roosevelt Night Museum Battle of Smithsonian? I'll just say, I got it. It was scheduling, but also they added him. They got him in there even for a small part. It was a cool effect. I really like the effect of how they built it, the plaster of his face so it can move in a certain way, and things like that. So, there's a very cool element to that. And it was Robin Williams, and that was a second movie. It took place in a different museum, so it made sense why the other character wasn't there. But also, it's really interesting, and he was busy as hell. Robin Williams, before he passed away, he was always doing something. So, it was cool to see him. I'm just glad he was there.
I was happy he was involved. I'm the exact same level with you. I'm happy they got him involved. Of course, it should be a different version of him because it's a different version of the character because we're at a different museum. So it makes sense. Do I love it? I think things could have been done better, but at the same time, we got a neat effect. We got to see Robin Williams on screen, and we still got Teddy doing his bullies, and I love it. So I was good with it all in all.
And this last one from them, we'll jump on the SDCC stuff, is which film do you guys prefer, the Braveheart or the Patriot? Honestly, it's a coin flip for me.
I'm the same way because Braveheart is great on so many levels, but from a historical accuracy point, it's garbage.
Well, both of them really garbage.
Well, now Patriot I can give because they just married 3 characters. So at least it was a clear marriage of those characters. But what happened
on all fronts, even the bad guys, the way they did them, there was a lot of liberties taken in the historical side of it.
There were on both ends. And that's because you have Mel Gibson doing it both. And he wants to be the big, brave badass. And quite frankly, I love the representation of, if you are for Scottish independence, who doesn't want to watch Braveheart? If you're for love and revenge, who doesn't want to watch Braveheart? For the Patriot, if you're all about American independence and what we did and that battle in the Revolutionary War, heck yeah. That is an F yeah America movie. And if you're all about, having revenge for your children, which I am a big fan of, that is absolutely a great movie.
Oh my God, yeah.
So,
unless you want to pull out the tomahawk.
Exactly. Now, real quick, also the last part for I would want to play Teddy now.
Yeah.
I love the Ewan Brana. That's a lot of fun. That's a really good idea. I think I would probably have to lean towards Jason Isaacs because I just would like to see his interpretation of it. And he's an actor I've loved for a long time. Jeremy Irons would be fun, but his voice wouldn't work.
Okay. I dig it. See, I imagine somebody I don't know. It might be another good one. No. I think about this a little bit. I think about this.
That's the thing. There's so many different options out there that it's and in what age too? Because do we want to do the Battle of San Juan? Or do we want to go up to maybe him in his later years where he's the post-presidency? There's a lot of ways you could play it. So.
Yeah, but thank you for the questions, bro. We truly appreciate you. Throw them out. We will keep on top of them and everybody else's. So we appreciate you. But I do want to talk to you a little bit about San Comic-Con. There's been some highlights coming up. One thing is, did you see the new Doom suit?
Oh yeah, I am a huge fan of this because it's Dr. Doom.
Oh yeah, I like it. It looks like Doom. It has the feel of Doom. I realize I'm not doing an alliteration on that. I'm speaking on the character. But it really does. I was a little weary. I hope they keep the mask on. It's iconic. Mm-hmm. They're gonna have to take it off at some point to show Robert Downey Jr.'s face because I know that's gonna be an element that really kicks off the story. But I think it looks cool. At least I was just worried that it was going to be some weird I don't know, micro thread type of crap that they keep putting on everybody else and not really look like armor.
Right. And and this actually looks like armor.
Yeah. That's
This is the steely stuff that I want to see. It's got the rivets. It just feels like Doom. I was very excited.
And regal too. It's the armor, but it's so regal, like somebody a leader of a country would wear.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I could see that being on a battlefield in medieval times.
Hell yeah. Oh, don't worry. Wait until I get to medieval times. Also, we got this is going to kind of be a bit of a big one. I think we'll talk about, but They recast it. First of all, they didn't recast. I shouldn't say recast, but Black Panther 3 is coming. Ryan Coogler casted a new actor to play Black Panther in the third movie. Of course, Chadwick Boseman playing T'Challa in the first movie. Shuri, played by Letitia Wright in the second movie, played the Black Panther. And then in this third movie, they are casting David Johansen to play T'Challa 2, his young son, the Black Panther, to be the new Black Panther. Now, if you've watched The Long Walk, which was phenomenal, he was phenomenal in it.
Great.
Alien Romulus, he was phenomenal. I can't wait to see Wasteman, which is another movie he has out right now. He is a friggin' phenomenal actor. And I think I was pulling for Damson Idris when it first came about, who was in F1. But you know what it was? Like, it wasn't anything against Damson Idris. He just isn't too huge over here. And David Johansen was building up like this, like a real deserved respect after a lot of the movies he put on and his performances. So I didn't think they could get David Johansen to play Black Panther. So I was like, maybe Damson Idris would, and that would build this like Q here in America and stuff. I love this casting.
Absolutely great. Perfect age, perfect fit. I loved him in Romulus. I think he played that. He emotes so well that I'm very excited to see how they do that. And I'm glad we're getting Black Panther back. We need Black Panther to continue all of these stories. So it works great for me. In my mind, this is ideal. I mean, yes, you need to always honor Chadwick Boseman because what he brought to the screen in the character was something very special. And it's very rare to be able to capture that lightning in a bottle. So I'm excited to see what Johnson brings. Yeah,
me too. I'm super stoked for this. I can't wait. And I know a lot of people, here's where I'm upset. And I'm not upset with Ryan Coogler as a filmmaker. I think he probably saw some pressure from the executives and the people running Marvel. I was in the camp that I thought should have immediately recasted Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther character with somebody new to play that role in the second.
Yeah.
And there is no shortage of amazing Black actors who could have taken that role. And I'm on point of saying like they should have recast the Joker for Dark Knight Rises because he was originally supposed to be in it, even if in a small way. But I was like, recast him. I don't care how great this performance is. I think you should always recast versus, especially in comic book situations like this where it's beloved characters. And I'm not against Shuri becoming the Black Panther. But it felt forced in that second one.
And it did. And they didn't do it as well as I think we were hoping for. I wasn't against it, but it could have been done better. But I agree 100%, man. With comic books, just recast. You know, we're going to be okay. It does not diminish the legacy of what was done by the previous act. Because you can go back and rewatch Black Panther a billion freaking times. And then if you go into Wakanda or Black Panther 2 or whatever else they want to call it, they have him live on. You know, there are ways to honor the memory of the actor and the person, but still keep because the character is supposed to transcend who the actor was. And I think that's something that Marvel wanted to project because they obviously want to keep going with some of these characters. So the fact they didn't is always a weird thing to me. So yeah, I'm on that boat, man. Recast.
Yeah. And by just getting that second one too, like I said, like it just felt so forced. But the thing is, I've adopted Shuri now to be Black Panther because that's what you gave us. So that's another thing. Again, I'm very happy he's coming in. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to have fun with it, enjoy it. But now it seems like you're either going to kill Shuri off, you know, in one of these Secret Wars or Doomsday or something, or write her off. But it just feels cheap. Feels like you cheaped out on a character.
And honestly, with the whole multiverse and being able to bring all these different characters in, I get it. You can just make them a different world, and it's like no problem. And especially because if we're getting Doom, Secret Wars coming, the whole thing that happens with that storyline is the multiverse. Doom literally just handpicks people from each universe, the best of each universe. It throws them together in Fight World or whatever it's called. I can't remember, Tournament World, and just has them battle it out. Battle World, that's duh. So, yeah, so it happens in Battle World. So
this is going to be a meeting of both the Secret Wars storylines. Yep. Though, just so you know, anybody, I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at the camera. No, but like, so anybody who's going into this and you don't fully understand, like he said in the original, they're all the heroes and villains kind of faction off and fight Battle World. In the sequel, Doom creates the battle world for them to live. I think this is early casting too, because unless you guys have a plan of what's going to happen with Siri, so I don't really have high hopes because they're showing her a lot in the trailers for Doomsday.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what happens.
We'll find out.
But I do love the casting though, and I can't wait to see what happens with that.
Agreed.
Of course, we got Ryan Reynolds in the denim pool. I think it was like the jean pool. That's what they call it. And he wore the
Is
denim,
it jean pool? Well, I mean, I just call him Canadian tuxedo. That's what he is, man. He's rocking that Canadian tux, bro.
He really is. He will be in Doomsday.
His panel was freaking hilarious, by the way, when he was interrupting and talking to the people on the Doom panel and giving them grief, and they gave it right back. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it out there, check it out. It was really good, really funny.
I love it. All right. Marvel announces Ryan Gosling as our new Ghost Rider.
I hope he bangs Eva Mendes.
I do too.
I mean, we already know he's done it at least twice. We have 2 confirmations.
Hey, Ryan, what are you getting for Ghost Rider? Pregnant.
Oh, that'll be the twist. Is in fact now the whole thing is Eva Mendes bangs him.
I'm going to be straight up. I think it would be stupid to not put Eva Mendes in this movie.
It would be foolish not to. I mean, he's just going to be Johnny Blaze. We don't need her to not be in here. I would love to see her again in this. She was one of the highlights of Ghost Rider, because as much as I love Nick Cage, he wasn't great in that first movie.
No, I'm wasn't great with its flashbacks every 9 minutes.
The second movie was miserable. The first movie was at least decent and had Sam Elliott and Eva Mendes.
See, that's where I disagree. I like the second movie because it was stupid. It was just stupid, weird, and I feel like he was on a drive angry kick, and he was like, "Oh, I got Ghost Rider again. Let's do this," and like just decided to go crazy. Whereas that first one, I didn't mind the story, and it was very silly with a lot of its VFX and stuff. And it's not the Ghost Rider I grew up on in comics, but I didn't mind it if they just knocked off the stupid flashback. Every 5 minutes, it's just like, oh, we're flashing back to something that happened either 20 years ago or 3 minutes ago that we all witnessed. And it's like, I don't need this.
That's fair. The mini flashbacks were too much to be like flashback. It's almost like he was combining drive angry and knowing.
Well, how do we feel about this cast? Like, I mean, it's Sean Levy directing. Sean Levy to me is a more palatable Michael Bay.
Oh yeah, because it's not as many. Well, the explosions make more sense, and there's usually more. There's more continuity in his story than Michael Bay's. That's the problem I have with Michael Bay, is without Jerry Bruckheimer, the man just has no continuity. No. It's really hurts and struggles. His plots are always weird, and it's not Tarantino directed. It's not going the same place. It just is things happen. Scene. Okay. I love this scene. Let's do this scene. So Sean Levy's going to be great for that. Ryan Gosling is great. He's a good actor, man. I love what he does. He's got more prowess to me than Nicolas Cage, because when Nicolas Cage comes on screen, he's going to be Nicolas Cage. When Ryan Gosling comes on screen, he's going to be a different character. Place Beyond the Pines, and is one of my favorite ones to show that he is able to really be someone different. He's a decent actor.
With you saying that, it reminds me to just say thank you to our sponsors of the show from Schenectady, New York, where The Place Beyond the Pines was filmed, is Shenanigans. The Gentlemen's Club in Schenectady, New York. We love it. We love you as a sponsor. They're on Uber Eats now, but get in there and see those girls, entertain you the night away, be respectful. And we want to
be kind, be thoughtful, and make sure to pay your dues.
Yes. No touching either. Also, I want to say thanks to 2 of our wonderful patrons who are in Schenectady. If you take a picture outside the Shenanigans sign in Schenectady, you get a shirt from snobsmerch.com. So James and Chris, thank you so much for sending.
And let me just say, James and Chris are looking good. Those are some strong-looking men right there.
That's some sexy
body.
men right there. That's right. Meow. This is the Sexy Men Show, where we look at men and say they're sexy.
Like Ed Norton.
Not in that movie.
Paul Giamatti.
with this Paul Giamatti, sexy nerd. Paul Giamatti oozes sex.
He does, man. The guy's probably got a huge dong.
I don't doubt that dong is scraping the sidewalk as he walks.
1000%. That is a straight Donkey Kong all day.
I am all for it too. Let's get out of SDCC. Lanterns, it's gonna be fine. Trailer's fun. I can't wait to see it.
Lanterns will be all right. Watching the panel with Nathan Fillion showing up was the bonus. That was one of the better parts of San Diego Comic-Con.
I'm not excited for Blade Runner 2099.
Nope, me neither.
I don't need this world elaborated on anymore.
Yeah.
You missed the point. Even the second movie sort of misses the point of the first movie.
Yeah, but the second movie at least has fantastic acting. It's a beautiful movie. So you're right. It does miss some of the plot, but it does, however, maintain the beauty and what Ridley Scott wanted at its soul.
Yeah.
So I give it that.
And I do love that 2049.
Yes,
I do.
same.
It's beautiful technically. I love it. The story is just as boring as the first one, and I say that with an affection and love where I watch it constantly. So I'm not. It is a long, drawn out story that if you love slow burns, you are into. Not everybody's into them, so I get why not everybody loves Blade Runner. But
honestly, I'd still go back to the original Blade Runner over 2049. I do.
I do love watching them both back to back.
Oh, that's fair. Okay, yeah, that's a good.
I
Day.
like them as a double feature,
and that's a good 7 hours of watching. So,
well, you throw Kingdom of Heaven in there and really throw for a loop. Oh my god, so funny. In fact, if you wanted to, Dune Part 3 is coming out, and if you really wanted to go with the family lineage, you could watch Troy, then you could watch The Odyssey. Then you can watch Dune 1, Dune 2, and then Dune 3. And you get the full Agamemnon story. People get into it. And it's funny because I see a lot of, whenever I watch people on like TikTok or Instagram or something, they're like, this. And it's like, yeah, you just read the book. It's a throwaway line, but they're treating it like, you have to understand this movie came out and it's connected to Dune, which the other movie, it's like, come the fuck. Everything's connected to the Odyssey in some way.
It's one of the first stories we ever wrote. It was literally taking all of the oral traditions. Homer just listened really good and went, I'm gonna write this down so maybe I can make some money off it and do plays. That's the whole fucking thing.
And I think more people need to be real about the fact that the Iliad was never that popular compared to the Odyssey.
No,
it was very popular, extremely popular.
Yep.
But the Odyssey is what, because even the Epic of Gilgamesh is the oldest story ever put down.
Yep.
That we know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still like, how often do you hear about Gilgamesh versus the Odyssey?
God, I mean, that's the thing. The Odyssey has always won our hearts because of the way it wraps, because of the story of losing everyone along the way. The Iliad was like, wait a minute, the bad guys won? Because if you think about it, it's kind of what happened. The bad guys beat the lovers.
Yeah, I'm figuring that out more and more these days. With my wiser days. When I was young, I was like, no, that horse thing really worked. I'm going to hide in this refrigerator box and knock on this door.
Holy shit.
Hey, you want a refrigerator? Bring me inside.
Oh my God, I want to do that now. Let's go find all of our friends.
I want to find a refrigerator box and go to your house and film it. And just you come home to a refrigerator box being like, well, I guess the only thing to do is bring this inside.
It's so good. It's so good.
And then I pop out and I stab you.
I want to go up and visit someone who we would never expect us to be there, like Sturdy. And just show up, or James or someone, be like, hey, man, you want a refrigerator?
If we can ever make this fucking channel work and where we're making money entertaining people, like Mr. B style, but without being a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Avoid being a dick and,
like really care about people.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to just go to Oregon or something to one of our fans' houses and set this up as like a publisher's clearinghouse where we're like, we're going to hide in this box and see if they bring us inside. If they don't, we'll give them a prize. If they do, we're going to stab them. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that.
No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to get hammered. Like if we get inside, we just get drunk. Congratulations, you've got 2 drunk snobs.
Wait, let's pull this back a little bit. Listen to me, everybody. If you're going to see the Odyssey, don't get boxes and then sit outside somebody's house, hopefully being able to take it in. It's a bad idea. He was right. These were the bad guys. We're being sarcastic.
Yeah, please don't do this. We can only do it because our shenanigans are cheeky and fun, whereas some people's are horrible and tragic.
Oh man, shenanigans. Talking about shenanigans, right? Third movie's coming out too. I can't wait.
I know, dude. I'm so excited. Look, Super Troopers 2 is not a tour de force. It is nothing super special.
I have fun with it. I don't care. It's
the fact that they maintain the Broken Lizard standard is what I want. Club Dread is not a great movie. I rewatch that a lot. I don't necessarily know. I love Club
That's
Dread.
The thing. Like, I know what I'm getting with them. It's a comedy troupe. They're giving me exactly what I would expect, and I'm fine with it. Like, don't make it a thing. I don't need a big thing about it. Like,
yeah,
it's like Monty Python. I will watch all of their movies, and they're not like for everyone.
No,
but I think that's the point. Like, your comedy is going to be your comedy. Like, I just watched that Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Path. I love David Wayne, and I love The State and all the comedy they bring in all their movies.
Yep.
And when I'm watching it, I'm like, yeah, this is absurd. This is ridiculous. And it's perfectly on point because I know why I'm watching.
Exactly.
I know who I'm watching this for.
I always compare it to Kids in the Hall. Do I understand and respect that Kids in the Hall is absolute brilliant troupe, hilarious, love everyone who's involved? I only like maybe a third of everything they've ever put out as Kids in the Hall.
Then you are not on the same absurdity level as me, sir, because I love everything. Kids in the Hall, as much as I love Saturday Night Live, and it really meant a lot to me, and I loved In Living Color, and even Mad TV early on was funny.
Yep.
I didn't watch it when it came back out.
No, I had the first 4 years, I think, is when I was in love with it. Mad
TV
was,
in the 90s,
I thought Mad TV at the time was better than SNL. And I think that just happens too. Everybody rotates through. Everyone has new stuff that just hits. And if it hits your funny bone, great. Look, not everyone loves Mel Brooks. I think they're idiots, but that's just some movies that people don't love. I don't understand how you could not love Spaceballs. I am a huge sci-fi nerd, and you make fun of it. I love that more.
I'll say this. It was, I love the punk rock feel to it. They were just guys who went out there and did it. They were putting out a show similar and on the same level as these other sketch comedy shows, but with things you were never going to see anywhere else because they were pushing the envelope. And The Whitest Kids You Know, they were good too. They were funny.
The Whitest Kids You Know are freaking hilarious.
Offensive
man.
as hell. But like to everyone, you know what I mean? Like it was one of those things where it's comedy.
And that's the joy of like Mel Brooks. That's the joy of those guys who, when you double down and commit to being offensive to everyone, it's hilarious to everyone. And that's key. You can't sit back and be like, I'm going to cherry pick who I'm going to be shitty to, because then you ruin it all, And Kids of the Hall, honestly, almost like I said, I love the third. The third that I love, I will die for on that hill. Like I will fight tooth and nail. The other stuff I don't like, it's not that I think it's crap. I just don't love it. I understand why other people love it. It's just not my cup of tea.
I get it.
Yeah.
You're crazy, though. You go back and watch it. They're amazing.
Admittedly, it has been a long time since I've sat down and watched some Kids in the Hall, aside from a few clips. So
Joe and I will, like, my buddy, I know you know my buddy Joe, but for everybody there, my buddy Joe, we lived together in California, so like we would watch late night Kids in the Hall all the time because they were just like, they were always on cable somewhere. I don't know why. I think it was on it was either Spike TV or something at the time, maybe Comedy Central or something, where they would like kind of just show all the old episodes. But we'll still text each other certain things. He controls the monkeys, and if he controls the monkeys, he controls the town. I know what the hell bowling is, but what are these guys doing? And it's a bowling show. It's just I love that obvious. Buy this vacuum. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, still all right. See, that's what
how the hell he told you that. It was the little weird things. It was like, oh, my dad used to lock me in the closet, into the basement when I was a kid. He would feed me through the bottom of the door. I got tired of pancakes and pizza, and it was just so stupid. It was just stupid shit. And it just, of course, I've heard of the Beatles, you idiot. It's like this whole long thing, and like I know I'm going crazy, but I will say this: my number one all-time sketch is the Doors sketch from Jim fucking Morrison told me, man. Every aspect of that is so good. Steal a car. I have a car. Steal a car.
And hey, I can attest here, y'all, as his friend who's been around him for almost over a decade of 14, 15 years now. Yeah.
Almost 15 years.
Yeah.
No, we're at 15 years, 2011.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Holy cow.
Happy 15.
You do, in fact, you do still bring up the Jim Morrison thing, and I do laugh every time because it's hilarious because you love that so much. And it's
so
great
weird and stupid. I love it. That whole, and again, it was like, with The Whitest Kids You Know, and there's other, like, D20 was a funny web series back in the day. Yep. And I love those things that, like, again, they were making statements, but they were just also putting out some great entertaining.
Agreed. That it's funny you bring up that sort of skit era because that also kind of bled into some very interesting things we got in that era of the new web series. Remember when they were trying to do web TV like Con Man with Alan Tudyk, which I loved. And I supported, and The Guild, which is coming back for a movie. I love The Guild.
I heard that.
I'm an MMO guy. Yeah, man, they got everyone back. They've raised over 3.7 million on their Kickstarter. Definitely check it out. Guild Rent Fared. They have Misha Collins is announced as going to be added to the cast. So your boy. And then my boy, Nathan Fillion, has been added to the cast. So I'm like, yo, I'm down. This is absolutely, I'm in.
Well, your favorite one, too, reminds me, it's not a sketch comedy, but it's just something that was put out there that was different. It was wild. It was weird. And I love it, too. It's Dr. Horrible Sing-Along.
Oh, forever and always, man.
It's
Forever
so
and always.
stupid, but it's amazing. And the music is great. It's fun.
Yep.
I'm down for it. But
it's so good. Why did you have to talk to me now?
That's such a good one. And Nathan Fillion, Neil Patrick Harris, Felicia Day, everybody does such a great job.
They absolutely
check that out on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah.
But you know what? Let's say we get to our top 5, because I'm actually very anxious to hear about your top 5, but also when we go through the ages.
Yeah, we have a really big show for you guys.
Yes,
so we're really excited to see what you've got.
We've been on for an hour, but we're here.
But baby, we got more.
Now, Casey, take it away.
It's time for the Scene Snobs Top 5 Countdown, featuring characters adapted from books in movie.
I don't know if that works, but I made that title because I like weird long titles.
Oh, thanks. I love it. That was a good one. We made it work.
That's why I never made it in Hollywood. Everybody was like, we thought the title was your script.
Wait, there's more?
Not for this guy, and he throws it in the trash. I just imagine every script that I ever put forth ended up whipped into a trash bin like that, kind of ugh, and then just whipped in, and then it just makes me feel better to think that there was some sort of dramatic fashion that went in.
Absolutely,
into my failures.
There was someone that someone read it at the beginning, and then they went, you know what? I'm going to pass this off to my producer. And the producer just looks at it and he's like, this treatment is already a page long. Give me something good. And where's Spider-Man? Because apparently J.K. Simmons.
First of all, I love that. But also what popped in my head was, I'm going to show this to my producer and whip it into the trash bin that has a masking tape and it says the producer on it. Well, this was our top 5.
That's beautiful. All right, so top 5.
All right, I'll kick us off this time, and then you go.
All right, sounds good.
My number 5 is Gandalf from The Lord of the Rings, the 3 books.
Okay.
I love that character. I think he transcends a lot, and I do think that the movie helps that immensely.
Absolutely, I could not agree more. I actually have to go with my number 5. Number 5 is still to this day, and it's difficult for me to dissuade myself from this because I tried a lot. I dug a lot of characters. Atticus Finch is still that early portrayal and putting that really at the forefront and what the character represents. And as far as for this specific request and what we were discussing for this top 5, I think he is an exact replica from page to movie and done perfectly.
I'm not going to say any more at the moment.
Okay.
But I'll join you in there in a few. My number 4 is Anton Chigurh, or whatever his name is from, I never say names right, so just bear with. From No Country for Old Men, played by Javier Bardem. If you read the Cormac McCarthy story, well done. It's very tense and it's a good character. But what he did on screen made rivals Michael Myers in my opinion.
I would not disagree with that. Absolutely. Yep.
So yeah, I just think he's great iteration.
Yep. 100%. Okay. Yep. Number 4.
Oh, you're 4. Sorry.
My 4 is the one, the only Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet, because of course Shakespeare.
Okay.
I'm gonna 100% put it on, and the only reason I really committed to this one versus his Much Ado About Nothing, Signor Benedict.
No, great.
Both of them great. Both of them Branagh. Both of them 2 of my favorites. But the fact that he committed to the entire play of Hamlet on screen, that automatically brings it up, and the way he shows that. And I'll be honest, that was the first time I understood why Ophelia reacted the way she did. I never quite read it right. You know what I mean? That part specifically, I didn't get until I saw Branagh do it. And I went, oh, that's the extreme that he went to drive her mad. So that's why Hamlet is my number 4.
You know who else didn't read Ophelia right? Taylor Swift.
I can't believe she put out an album that makes so little sense.
Well, I mean, you didn't read Hamlet, dude.
Right?
I went to they had an album release party in the movie theater called Party with the Last Showgirl or whatever it was. I can't remember. It's
Yeah,
for
the
that
Last
album.
Showgirl, I think. Yeah.
And it was all like there was one music video for The Fate of Ophelia, and then in it, like interstitials would be showing you how they made the video, which was all interesting. I love the behind the scenes stuff and the work. But I'm listening to the song, and then she's talking about reading Hamlet and understanding, and I'm like, you didn't get it right. You didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Like you either didn't read it and you're lying, which people do, and you probably are, or you just didn't understand it, and now you kind of look like an idiot. But most of your fans didn't read it either, so they don't know that you look like an idiot.
Right.
So
right.
I applaud that, though. So like that's a long way of saying Casey's Choice is a great one to watch. Maybe learn about Ophelia.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. 3 times the charm.
Played by Kate Winslet, no less.
Oh yeah,
like,
she does
so
an amazing job in this.
She does a great job too. And Brana directing all of these really pulls everything out of his actors and actresses. And I love watching him do it because what winds up on screen is always a joy. So, and I kind of this top 5 is more or less also a recommendations. If you love these classic literatures and you want just cliff notes and you don't want to sit and read it, these are the movies I recommend too. So it's kind of a dual thing here.
I love that.
What you got for 3, brother?
My number 3 is Atticus Finch. For all the same reasons you said, I think he's one of the best heroes, and from the page to the screen, I think he was even better because Gregory Peck really understood that character.
100%.
And I think putting as great as she describes Atticus in the book, and it does, it's so in depth and beautiful. Seeing him and played by Gregory Peck with that poise and that stoicism and that integrity is just hands down. Yeah, he's such an amazing character. But I do not accept that stupid bullshit sequel that she wrote for Cash Grab.
Oh yeah.
She made him a racist, and she made it just, you really sold out the character, and that's
sad.
That's my number 3.
All right. Number 3 for me.
Oh, number 3 for you.
Yes, my number 3. So I know we're sticking to movies, so I'm gonna keep the other one as an honorable mention later down the line. But for me, I've got to go with, because we're doing this through movies, it's hard for me to do this, but I have to put number 3 as Sherlock Holmes. I would have rated it higher if it was the television show, but sticking with the movie itself, I think that there is a beautiful, and this is not just Sherlock, this is Sherlock and John Watson. And that's why I love Guy Ritchie's version, because he makes John Watson an actual war veteran who's an actual doctor and not just kind of the chunky Victorian era sidekick. And it's far more intelligent. Now, I'm not saying that Watson in the books is a superhero by comparison. He's telling the story. He's a narrator.
Yeah.
He's supposed
Thank you. He's
supposed to be an everyman. He is telling the diary story of his friend Sherlock Holmes, who's a guy who has no friend. So it's a fantastic tale, and the only one who I think really hits it on the head and pulls it from the page very well, because this is after their adventures, is Sherlock Holmes, the Guy Ritchie, because we've gone through the Baskervilles, we've gone through everything to now where they are in those movies is we're past it, and so I do like
love it. I love it. Love it, dude. Sherlock was going to go on my list because Sherlock is one of my absolute favorites.
Oh yeah.
We've talked about it at length, and I'm so glad. Thank you, so many people, and I know you do know, and I don't know. Not that I doubt it. I didn't think about it in the first place, but saying that it's the narration and not that, because you do get a clear, concise look at John Watson when he writes about himself from the verbiage that Sherlock is using about him, and he comes off heroic. And you're right. So many movies played him off as just sort of a dullard. I will say the 7.5% solution. Robert Duvall does a very good job playing it.
I will give you that one. I kind of harken back to the Basil Rathbone and whoever.
I'm with you there.
So that's where my mind goes, because that's what I grew up with. That was the first thing I saw. My grandparents watched it. So
that's what it was. 100%. It wasn't until recently, until like the Sherlock movies, where they really were doing that, and Watson became more involved. The reason he didn't make the list is because I think that the visual medium that does Sherlock the best and has improved it, in my opinion, is Sherlock.
Oh, 1,000,000%, brother. I could not agree more. That if we were doing TV shows as well, that would be my number 1.
I knew. I figured it would be for you too. I will say this for you and anyone else who is a big fan of the Guy Ritchie movies, who I am as well. I love those movies. And I think they're great adaptations of Sherlock and took it in a great direction. There is a series, and I'm not a huge fan of supporting billionaires or whatever, but on Amazon, I think it's worth checking out that I watch. It's called Young Sherlock Holmes, and it's about his time in Oxford.
Ooh.
And a young Moriarty and him like befriending each other and like solving mysteries. Very well done. It's excellent in its in the way it presents itself in the mysteries that it's telling. I think you'd really enjoy it, and it's got the action aspect,
which you got to have, just because that's the whole thing. Is Sherlock was never he was more actiony than the olden days Victorian style that we've seen. It was presented more highbrow and almost more for the Queen's level. And it's like, nah, man, the whole point of Sherlock is that he is not at that level. He doesn't want to be at that level because he finds it boring. It's contrite. Yeah. It doesn't do anything for him.
If you read the books, and I know you have, I'm talking to everybody out there, but if you've read the books, the Baker Street Irregulars are his communication syndicate that go around. They're the homeless children that he works as a network and takes care of.
Yep.
Like you couldn't do that and still hold this high regard, amongst like being this real, but he could pull them off. And like it was beautiful the way they interwove that in the story.
Agreed.
I really loved it.
Agreed.
But yes, great choice. Sherlock Holmes.
You're number 2, brother.
Robin Hood.
Whoa.
I love Robin Hood.
Whoa.
And I do think as great as the story is, which is just sort of short little, you can almost kind of call it a poem, but it's not really a poem. It's just a short story.
It's like 120 pages. Yeah. The novella or whatever.
Nothing really.
Yeah.
It's been elaborated so well and created such a beautiful network of movies, adaptations of movies, that I'll always love Prince of Thieves. It's always going to have a special place in my heart. I love
Agreed.
The Robin Hood.
Absolutely.
Was it 27, 28? Oh, no, 38. Sorry.
38. Well, yeah, Errol Flynn is still my Robin Hood, bro. At the end of the day, as much as I love Costner, Errol Flynn swinging in and being like, hello, Sheriff. Yep.
Everything. Like that. So, like, when I see a Robin Hood pop up, I'm always sort of in. And I'm not saying they're all great.
The fox. Bro, the foxes, and the bear. Yep. First time I ever thought I could love a fox as a child. Maid Marian was hot. Whatever. Come at me, bro.
That is a great version, too. And I'm not a huge fan of Don Bluth animation, but that is a great version.
Well, I think because it also sticks to the story. I think that's one of the funny things is it does play it out. Now, it doesn't give you the Guy of Gisborne. They do cut out all of the fluff and pomp and circumstance, but so does Prince of Thieves. So figure it out.
Actually, I think they adapted it pretty well in Prince of Thieves, where you still have Guy of Gisborne, but he's like the cousin of Sheriff Nottingham.
Yeah.
That's an interesting element.
They did a good job. And also, it helped me understand what a sheriff freaking was, because I always had the impression that it was a sheriff the way we know a sheriff. It's very much so not.
It's not that. More like a tax man.
Yeah, truth. All right. My number 2, is actually Gandalf.
Nice.
Gandalf for me, because I think Ian McKellen brought more to the character, but he stayed within the spirit of it. And Peter Jackson honestly just did it shot for shot. He did the book shot for shot. He brought everyone on there. I honestly, it's kind of funny because as good as he was and as good as the elves were, I think he did a poorer version of Strider. And that's not Viggo Mortensen. That was the writing and the time limit, the crunch we get, because we didn't get more Strider. We didn't get more of that. Gandalf, on the other hand, is perfect all the way through. He is off the pages. And Ian McKellen bringing him to life with that gravitas. It's just too good. I will always bring up Gandalf as one of the best. However, we are now at the more important thing. Number 1, brother, do you have an honorable mention?
I do have an honorable mention. And I threw in this honorable mention because he's a character like Robin Hood. I have a theme. You know me and my heroes. And I think he deserves respect because he's had so many movie adaptations that have been fantastic. He's based on a book series. Zorro.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great choice.
Yeah. I think people need to go out and watch more Zorro movies because they've been around since the 30s and they're worth checking out. In fact, there's one Zorro movie, a silent era film from, I think it's 1916. So
yeah, and Zorro has always been a fun sort of mass vigilante hero. So the fact he's been around as long as he has, I say I'm with you. The Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones is still one of my favorites. Like it's just a fun adventure movie that's a good character.
I'd argue that it's a masterpiece.
Really?
I argue it's a 10 out of 10 movie. And here's the weird part. There's one actor and he only has one scene in the main cast that is
Okay.
Mexican.
Who?
Don Paul. He plays Don Paul in the movie. I can't remember the actor's name.
Yeah.
He's the only actor because Antonio Banderas is from Spain. Catherine Zeta-Jones is Welsh. Anthony Hopkins is British. You know, like there's so many in there, and but it is just so well done. I would love. There is a really good Mexican production.
So are the Gay Blade?
No, no, not that one. That's the one that's like maybe more offensive. No, there's a great one that just came out a few years ago. It's a Mexican production of Zorro's TV show that came out. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
It's good. And I can't remember his name, but the actor from The Artist just did a Zorro movie. I can't. It's driving me crazy.
I'm not recalling that right now. That's too far.
But it's a Zorro movie where he's older now and has to go back to being Zorro. So I'm anxious to check it out. I've heard like some interesting, fun things. But again, they're both Mexican productions, so I'm interested to see how a Mexican production is going to handle a Mexican hero.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested to check that out too. That'll be nice. All right. So, do you want me to do my honorable mentions?
Yeah, what's your honorable mentions?
Okay, I only have 2. I'll do them real quick. Going back the Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. I know it's been done a billion times. There's a bunch of stuff on it. I think Keira Knightley still crushes that role. That and Anna Karenina, the fact that she has done some of the best period pieces in the last couple decades, I think requires at least an honorable mention because she does bring those characters to life. Are the characters interesting? They're boring. It's boring to me. To me, it is boring. I don't want to be. I get it, but I think it deserves mention. The other one, John Malkovich as Lenny in John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, still holds water to me. Gary Sinise also does a fantastic job. It's Steinbeck. If you haven't read them, read them. They're 120 pages, 200 pages. It's a great Americana, and it's awful. Like, I mean, when I say awful, I mean it's heart-wrenching. It will hurt you. But that was the era, and I think it's important that we don't forget that historical time.
If I can piggyback on that sentiment, which is these are especially like The Grapes of Wrath, Of Mice and Men, movies that took place during the Depression. I'm seeing a lot of people now in the way they're talking, and they're talking about the Depression. There's so many stories now that generation is gone for the most part that are missing, that these younger kids today should learn from, because they're truly like I listening to the stories that my grandparents and my aunts and my great aunts and uncles would tell me about having to grow up through the Depression and what that meant, what that looked like, and reading Steinbeck's books and others really helped more than history books almost, because it made me look for the right history when I read these books. And I think that's the sentiment I'd really like to draw to, is like, if you really have sort of a thirst for knowledge, reading books like this will give you insights to those worlds at the time. And we're going to talk about this later too. We're going to give you movies to do this off as well. But we urge you, please read these books and really like just allow yourself to feel them as you read them, but also go search for the real history and what the facts are and like what history was like, because there's so many, like even when you go back and read the Odyssey and you learn about like more of like the real history in the Odyssey, Iliad at that time, what they found archaeologically speaking, it's just truly astounding, and it's worth checking out.
I could not agree more. And also it's that slice of life. You know, what McGraw-Hill textbook teaches you in 2 chapters is not enough to understand what people on the ground, what it felt like, what they went through, how families separated. White Fang, great job of showing that in that time frame. Great book, great story. The Jack London stuff is great.
In general.
Yeah, but my issue with Jack London books is they translated well, but the characters didn't always pull from the page. I don't know. It just didn't do enough for me.
I'd love to hear it, because I've read them since I'm a kid, so it's a little different.
Fair. Call of the Wild is always one of my favorites because it's how a dude becomes part of a wolf pack, and it's just neat, different, and weird. But then I watch the movie and I'm like, this is garbage. I by comparison to what
the way old man and his dog.
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't really do that well to me. So I that's why I think sometimes the book is superior and sometimes the movie iteration is better, depending on what you're looking for. And that's why Steinbeck novels, as a historical aspect of boots on the ground, a guy who went through it and experienced these things with other people, great read. So enough of that. What's your number 1, my brother?
Well, actually, real quick, because I thought of an honorable mention, but I think it should just be blanket honorable mention when it comes to this character, is Frankenstein's monster. It's just been done so well in film. And I know it's not always direct adaptation, but I think that monster has been adapted beautifully so many times. So I wanted to give. I think that's like maybe the king character in my opinion, that has just been adapted so many times. But
That's fair.
my number one is Patrick Bateman, because as wonderful as that book is, and as much as it really dives into his brain, the movie, I think, did it better.
Wow.
Yeah, I like, and I love that book. I love that Ellis in general. All of Ellis's books are amazing.
Yeah. Bret Easton Ellis and Chuck Palahniuk are those two who are just twisted enough that you can really enjoy, you know. Yep.
Palahniuk almost made the list, but I went with Patrick. I
agree, and I just want to say the level of depravity that Palahniuk takes you down is difficult to fully translate. So, like, Sam Rockwell did a great job in Choke, but it's not
the same.
It's not the same level, man. Like, and that's why it's tough to put Palahniuk on there. But I think that's a wonderful choice because Patrick Bateman is played perfectly by a brilliant actor and done where you feel all of the things as he's doing this face peel, as he's got this system he's doing, the battle of eggshell white over the freaking cards with raised lettering. It's done beautifully. So that's a great choice for number one, brother. Good choice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's a good book to read too. So
it is. Yeah, absolutely.
For number one. So,
brother man, there's only one I will always go to when it comes to classic literature, when it comes to dangerous characters and brilliant actors. Gary Oldman's Bram Stoker's Dracula. It is shot for shot brilliance, and he plays such a brilliant character that we've seen throughout history, played by brilliant actors. Lugosi, Christopher Lee. I mean, we've had some magnificent
Jack Palance.
Jack Palance, baby. I love Jack Palance.
The only Dracula who could do push-ups in one arm. I don't know. Christopher Lee was a badass.
Christopher Lee was a monster. I don't know if he could do push-ups with one arms, but he could definitely hold down a fortress by himself.
He could murder everyone because he was a spy.
He's badass. But yeah, I think Gary Oldman's Dracula, if you're really looking for the Bram Stoker stamp of what he wanted, that was it.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice. Good top fives with honorable mention.
Great top five.
All right. That's our top five for this week. And we're going to get started on the next portion. I'm excited. I want to go through that. I just want to tackle it. And I figure what we'll do is let's go down the line.
Okay.
We'll start in the Stone Age. I'll give mine, you give yours, and we'll just compare on each and like why we chose for that timeline.
I love it.
All right. Let's
perfect. All right. So let's kick it off, y'all. The Stone Age, the very first era that we have in history, known history of human beings, Neanderthals still existing side by side. This is the woolly mammoth era. This is post-Ice Age, baby. This is the earth has melted. The animals that were dead are now coming out. We have moved through the natural land bridges. We have shifted, and humans, as we know them today, have moved across the continents and spread out and are learning to use tools, and fire is exciting. So, which fire is still always exciting. Thank you, ancestors.
And Prometheus.
Oh, wait, yeah, Prometheus. So there are two I have for this. We went kind of the guidelines.
Well, before we do that, I want to just write, because I just to pull it up. The years for this are 3.3 million years ago to 5,000 years ago BCE. So it used to be BC and AD. Now they call it BC and CE. Mm-hmm. Or no, BCE and CE.
Yeah.
So anything where we're saying CE is or AD is after the birth of Jesus, which is what the calendar, goes off.
Because it was hard to AD, because AD would have been the year 33, not 0. So yeah, we just try to use it to get it to exact 0.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Love it. So do you want to go first? Humans use stone tools. Yeah, it was known as the Stone Age. Humans used stone tools, lived as hunter-gatherers, and later started early farming within the Neolithic period.
Yep.
Sorry, perfect. I wrote it out. I wanted to say it.
No, I love it. No, that's brilliant. Yeah, you nailed it.
What do you got? What are your choices?
I have two for this one. I went with Alpha from 2018.
Okay.
Because I think after kind of rewatching, and well, actually not rewatching, but I perused all of them again that were from the Stone Age that at least represented it best. And I think this shows that hunter-gatherer mentality, the way we needed dogs, because without dogs, we would not have become humans that we know today. We needed that companion animal. And Alpha does a great job of showing that. It's okay. There's liberties, there's obviously no perfect movie. There's no perfect representation because we want more action-y adventure. Maybe we need more story, more depth. But I like Alpha for this. I think it's a good representation. Better than Quest for Fire, which I felt was a little decent, but it's not It doesn't hit. And then honestly,
don't pick on Quest for Fire. Shut your face.
Oh, I'm not picking on it. I'm just saying between the two, I preferred Alpha.
I haven't said my list yet, so stop saying other movies.
And then the animated version, because for some of these I found a kind of family-friendly version to do a good interpretation of it. And I love The Cruise. I think The Cruise does a great job with that.
I'm glad you said that. The Cruise is a good one. But I'm glad you said that about the animation because I did the same thing.
Okay, cool.
I tried to do it with all of the ages. I didn't quite get there with them.
There are some that I couldn't pull, yeah.
It was like, I got to focus on what this will say. So with that being said, my three are The Clan of the Cave Bear.
Oh, I forgot about that. What a good one.
It's a good one. And it I like the language barrier in it. I think it's an interesting one that kind of gives you insight, but it's also dramatic. So you're not bored.
Yes.
Another one for me was Quest for Fire from 81.
No, and I get it. I get it. I understand it.
But I like the idea of following these Neanderthals and and just getting a better understanding of early man, and getting that sort of scope from it. And then I went the same route as you, talking about animation, which is a personal favorite, but I think is good it's not accurate, but it has so many things are well written, and this is one of them where it has accurate jokes or accurate dialogue to kind of give you an idea. Or Easter eggs that you can see that's like, oh, this means this, and you can correlate. It's one of those things that I find as a jumping off point, which is what we should treat books and movies as, to learning actual history to it.
Correct. And I love that. That's it's a great choice, brother. All right. So we stoned that age.
All right. So stoned that age. I like it. All right. So next up is the Bronze Age, which is circa 3100 BCE to 1200 BCE. People learned to make bronze for tools and weapons, and the first major cities and states and writing systems arose in places like Mesopotamia and Egypt. And if you have any more insights, take it away. These are just facts.
No, because the Bronze Age is a weird one. It was the pre-Roman civilization. So we're talking about the Greeks, we're talking about the Spartans, we're talking about right at that time when Athens is building itself to be what it is, when Greece is building to be what it is. We're also dealing with that era of what's his face, Alexander the Great. Like that, we're all getting ready for that. So that's and that's also known as that antiquity time. Yeah. So what do you have? I'm curious of yours, sir.
So so for these and a lot of my choices are trying to see different aspects of the world. Now, in the Bronze Age, the world was quite small. Now, were other things going on in Asia, in America, in the South America? Yeah, of course. We didn't know. We have ideas now, but we didn't know as much as we do about this age. So the choices I went with, I think, are reflections, especially on those regions. My first one is very much lore. It's Clash of the Titans.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
And it's so early on. So
please
you
tell
get
me
an
you're
idea
talking
of
Harry
the gods,
Hamlin, baby.
And I think that the gods are a beautiful way to watch a movie like this and then say, okay, I want to get into the lore. Okay, what science did each of these gods represent? What were these people thinking of the time? And that's an interesting way to get into it. So that's why I picked that. The next is the Odyssey, which is another lore, but is also trying to contribute to history. And the beauty about the Odyssey is that 1,000 or 2,000, whatever years it took for him to write it from when it happened, supposedly, you get a lot of things throughout that 1,000 years that were attributed that were not around when this story took place. Right. So we do get history that went missing in that time if you figure out where to find it. So I think watching the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's new one, would spark that. You'd see it and it would spark that. The next one, which again is not animated, but I think works for the whole family, the Ten Commandments. The Days of Moses. You can see early Egypt. You can see the trek, everything into the Holy Land and whatnot. So it is a very pivotal story in our history, and it took place in the Bronze Age. So it's an interesting one, especially with the golden calf in the Bronze Age. So
I love those. Those are great. Mine are almost exactly you and I think far too much alike because I went very similar. The only place I turned is my first choice, which was Apocalypto. I'm not saying Apocalypto was a fantastic movie. It was set in 1511 at the Yucatan Peninsula, which was, I believe, Mayan civilization. So it's a very different spin to see what was happening on the other side of the world. It didn't fall in line with where we came through our Latin roots, if you want to go that route, the way we came up through Rome. It shows another side of the world at that time. And it's amazing that if you correlate that and Troy and you put those two together, you see how things are so similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it is really interesting. It's a neat correlation, neat side by side. So I love that.
I may or may not talk about Apocalypto later, so just I'll stay out of that one.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. 50. I'm sorry. I took Apocalypto later. I thought this was 1511 BCE, so I messed that up. It's CE. My bad. That was not. Good. I'm on the wrong page.
You're good. You're good. You get where you need to go.
Troy is the one that I loved for this because Troy is the one that shows without the god, and they wanted to remove that part. So you get to see a little bit more. You get to see how the armies worked. You get to see kind of how the kingships work. The fact that you could be a king and still called by a bigger king. That was different, and I liked the scope of it. That was neat. 10 Commandments. You and I are on point with that, brother. You're not going to see a better interpretation or version of what the Egyptian society was from an outsider's perspective inside of it. I thought that was neat, and that's a good way to do it. I don't necessarily love Heston as much as there was a point in my life where I did.
Yeah.
However, the movie, if you're paying attention to everything around it, great. But when it comes straight up to Egypt, brother, animated Prince of Egypt all day. Do it. Those two, they marry and work perfectly. So if you're not ready for 10 Commandments because it's not Easter and you don't want a big epic, I don't know why I associate them. Yeah, exactly. I always associate those epics with Easter time. That's one to go with. So those are my three.
All right. So after this, of course, we move on to the Iron Age, which is 1200 BCE to 500 BCE. Again, there's no Christ. We're about 500 years away from him. Iron replaced bronze as the main metal, spreading new tools and changing warfare across Eurasia and Africa. You want me to go first? You want to go first?
I'll fire off on this one.
Okay.
I have first one I want to go with is Gladiator.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
I love
All right, you know what? I'll just say because that's my first one too. So
yep. I mean, it's you want to look at Roman society and how Rome worked later Rome. We're not talking about Caesar Rome. We're talking about Marcus Aurelius almost 300 some odd years later after the death of Caesar. So we're well into what Rome was and the corruption of Rome that we've heard about and the decadence of Rome and all of these Roman ideals were better. They were better then. So I love that one. I think that's fantastic. Number two for me is Centurion because it's Romans in the war with the Picts up in England and Wales. Sorry, technically. So I love that era. I love that time frame. The King Arthur movie, it's a fun movie, but it's absolutely nowhere near historically accurate. Don't ever try to have someone tell you it is. It's not great, but it's entertaining. So I definitely say Centurion. And then the other one for me on this one is actually a weird one because it's not a good movie. I don't love this movie, but the representation of everything around the main characters in Alexander is bloody perfect. Like, they do have that sort of mythology in there. There was a mythos. I couldn't hammer down an animated one for this because in my mind, this era is always bloodthirstiness, So that's my choice for the Iron Age.
All right. I dig it. So first off with mine is Gladiator. I'm with you on that. I think it's a great look at later Rome, especially once we get here, because it's still 500 years before Jesus, but it's at a point where Rome is probably at its most prominent. Because it's probably hitting at its, because like right after Marcus Aurelius dies, it is a siege of terrible leaders who bring Rome down. Not fully, like it goes down later, but they don't help. And it's often widely considered the time where that was the fall of Rome started. And then I had Pharaoh from 1966.
Oh, okay.
That'd be an interesting one to add because Egypt was no slouch even when Rome was around.
That. Oh yeah,
they were towards the end of their, I mean, by the time Gladiator came up, they weren't in that same power, but they were
already done because Cleopatra had already happened. They'd already been beaten down. That's interesting. Yeah,
this is more a focus on early Iron Age.
Right.
And kind of where they were at with that in Egypt and still with their power. And it's good to look at. And then my next one is King Lear.
Okay.
Which we get to see in early pre-Rome Britain.
Yeah.
And for anybody, that's a William Shakespeare story. It's fantastic about a mad king and it's worth checking out. But it is also a very good depiction. And it shows to Shakespeare's credit how much he knew about history. What pre-Rome Britain looked like, which is a long time before his time. And it was an interesting one. So King Lear, I think, would be a good one to check.
And that actually, if we just want to marry all that together, is a good spin into our classical era.
Yep.
Because
go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say 500 BCE to 500 CE. So now we're getting past Jesus in this one. Great empires like the ancient Greece, the Roman Empire, the Mauryan Empire in India, and the Han Dynasty in China flourished and built vast trade networks during this time. Please take it away if you have any more insights on the history.
No, that pretty much nails it. One of my favorites around this era is Hero.
Oh, no. Oh, such a great pick.
Hero
I love the different representation for China. Oh, but that's such a.
But China was so big and strong because this is when all of the big dynasties started come together. You had massive, great emperors who were doing these huge things before and after. This is interspersing with Mongolians too. So I mean, there's a lot of battles, a lot of fighting. The armies get bigger and stronger, and that's one of the beauties of Hero. Is you get to see one of the first a good representation of one of the first unifying emperors of China.
Yep,
and that's why I really love that one.
I love that pick so much.
Thanks, man. Another one that I love during this era is Ben-Hur, because Ben-Hur shows not only what Rome was, it shows what Rome was becoming with Jesus. And it's still, I will die on this hill that it is
ideology change.
Exactly. And that's pretty much all I picked for this category, which may have hurt me a little bit, but I still love it. Ben-Hur is also my favorite, and I think the best depiction of Jesus ever in a movie.
Okay.
You never see his face. You only see him with his hands. You see him interact. You see him get crucified. You see Ben-Hur grow as a character. And this is probably, in my opinion, Heston's best role. I think this is where he acted the most.
I would. Everything else was fun.
Even Moses was a little absurd,
like a lot of them were fun, but this was probably his best role.
And then the other one that I have for this is, are you ready for this one? This is my top. This is actually my number one pick. As much as Hero was great, Agora.
You told me, but I haven't watched it yet. I got to check it out.
Agora is still one of the best. It's an exploration of the intellectual and cultural achievements in classical antiquity. And it's one of those where the mob rule mentality is not comfortable or confident with the new Christian sect that has risen. And it's sort of how they all work together and don't really work at all. So I think that's a great one to moving away from the gods, the gaining of science and medicine, how hard it was to just build these new mentalities and teach these things versus the old mob rule. So those are great representations, in my opinion, of the classical era.
I love it. I love that. Ben-Hur I chose too. That's my number one. And for the same reasons, like the bringing in of the Christianity, seeing the Jewish representation in the movie, and then what that was in those different times and how turbulent it was in certain times, but also the Roman rule and how Roman rule is basically birthed off of the back of Greece and ancient Greece and how it works. So like when we see Rome now, sort of, it's almost like this is a beautiful movie and a representation of something's changed and something broke through this great empire. And it might not take it down right now, but we know it eventually does.
But we know it kills it soon. All right, what else you got?
Cleopatra.
Oh,
I think it's a good one. Again, where Egypt was such an important kingdom, so to speak, in history and what they brought to, just in terms of like tools and knowledge and things like
architecture,
that.
knowledge. I mean,
architecture.
Just think of how much was destroyed in Alexandria. That's just such a mind-boggling thing. How much further we could be advanced if people weren't just willing to tear everything down.
But I also think Cleopatra is important because it shows the decadence and how it took over the ideology and how it sort of mirrors. Well, I should say Rome mirrored that.
Yes.
And how it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you're just going to end when you like that.
I mean, it's always true that history may not repeat itself, but it damn sure rhymes.
Damn right. And my last one is I went to China, and it's a 1940 film, which is awesome. And if you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's called Confucius. Yes, that one. And it's about Confucius in his older age, traveling through China, trying to share his philosophies with warlords and kings. So it's really interesting. It's really introspective, very well acted. If you get a chance, check this one out. It was lost for a long time too. That's how when they found it, that's how I found out about it, because I like to pay attention to like the preservation, and it's worth checking out if you get a chance. And I think it's an interesting look at this age, the classical era age, and what China looked like and how important Confucius was.
Absolutely. I think that cannot be understated. I wish there was a good movie about Lao Tzu. That's what I'm waiting for next.
Sure.
when someone hammers on that, then we're going to be good.
All right, so now we're moving on to the medieval era. That's 500 CE to 1500 CE, also called the Middle Ages. This time featured feudal societies in Europe, the Islamic Golden Age, the growth of the powerful region states across the Americas, Africa, and Asia.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll go first on this one.
Yeah, fire off. What you got?
One is the Northmen. I think it's important. I think Viking and barbarian history are very important and undersold when we look back at history.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
we look
100%.
at the cool aspects of it, but we forget how much they shaped the world too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think looking at the Northmen would be a good sort of look into the lore of that.
Am I thinking of the correct one? That is the Mads Mikkelsen one, correct?
No, you're thinking of Valhalla Rising.
Valhalla Rising. Thank you. Yes,
That's a good one.
Another good one. A little artsier.
Yeah,
I think the Northman actually tightens up the story of who they are. So I agree. Good job.
This is the Eggers film. So if anybody's looking to check it out, definitely check it out because it's beautiful. Seventh Samurai. Looking at feudal Japan, looking at the samurai, what it meant, the honor code that they lived by, things like that, and just that entire movie is beautiful, and it's a look at medieval times from a very different perspective than I think most Americans are looking at. So that's one to look at that. And my last one is Macbeth, but it's the 48 version with Orson Welles.
Okay. All right. Good. I was going to say there are too many different versions. Like, I would love to say the tragedy of Macbeth, but that doesn't give you any context at all. It's just beautiful performances.
It beat out A Man for All Seasons, the Thomas More movie.
Ooh.
Which I thought could have shown an interesting take on how religion was reshaping even another empire in Britain.
Yep.
But I went with Macbeth on that one because I think it's a great representation of royalty in medieval times and corruption and power.
I agree. I think that's beautiful. All right. So my choices here. You would have thought I would say Kingdom of Heaven. It is not. If you want to focus on the Crusades, that's just such a tiny part of it, though. Yeah. And that was kind of the hard part. Was like, yes, there were 4 Crusades. There were a lot of different things going on. Does the Kingdom of Heaven represent the Crusades very well? Yes. But there's so much deeper things to read on that. If you want to learn about the power structure of what was happening at the top of the list with the Pope, you watch The Agony and the Ecstasy.
Okay. I like it.
That, for me, was a really good one. That showed that, because that still lands right in that Renaissance era. You're right at the bleeding edge of that. And then number 2, if you want to see the religious and everyday life of, obviously European descent. So that's definitely something I've studied thoroughly. The Name of the Rose.
Good one.
I love how that shows. Movie. Yeah. I love how that shows just that sort of monastery life. And they show the town. They do show what happens in medieval times. And it sucks. Medieval times suck, man. You want to know about medieval times? It was boring, and everyone shit in buckets and threw it out their window. It was awful. Everyone died at 30, and everyone only grew to like 4'2" because nutrition was sucked. So yeah, everything sucks. However, you and I completely 1000% agree on this. I didn't say Seventh Samurai, even though that's my favorite Kurosawa movie. I think a better representation of that feudal Japan is Yojimbo.
That's a good one. Ran is a good one too.
Oh yeah, that's
another interesting one. So yes, I agree. You got me thinking of them now. Was it Keiji Musha?
I
think that was another one that took place in feudal. I gotta get down on it. I've been meaning to do another retrospective on the director. I think of
Kurosawa. What a perfect one to do, bro. Yeah,
I did it High and Low because High and Low was my first time ever watching it.
Really?
When the Spike Lee movie was coming out, I wanted to see it. A lot of people were putting it down. I think because fucking do that. But I urge you to check that movie out. It's a really well balanced film, telling 2 different sides of a story, from the rich perspective to the poor perspective.
Okay.
And it can get intense at times. So I and then check out the Spike Lee one. I like that one too. But I thought this was a really well crafted Kurosawa that takes place in the 60s.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He didn't always do like a present day movie.
No, he did not. And I think that's a great representation. I don't think either of us are ever going to put Braveheart on there because historical accuracy is important. If you want to get an actual look at it, check out The Outlaw King. It's not a great movie.
Yeah, good one. Chris Pine.
But it does. Yeah. Chris Pine does represent Robert the Bruce fantastically well. Okay. That's it. I'm done with medieval.
I love it. Sorry, I was getting excited about it. More so than trying to step on it. And it's so hard because medieval was so long and there were so many there's so many things you want to add. We didn't even talk about the Renaissance. We didn't even talk about anything.
I mean, Agony and the Ecstasy, I think, covers it well enough.
Yeah,
that you get
you
both
did.
sides of it, you know. But you're right, man.
I think I was trying to cover by saying Macbeth. I'm also trying to add the idea that Shakespeare was of the time.
That's fair. No, I get that.
So, like in watching Macbeth, you're also seeing something that's representing its own time. Within reason.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. It's recent history to him. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, like if we are writing about the American Revolution or something, we're writing about something within our own time that we can call back.
Yeah, agreed.
Not like King Lear, which is 1,000 years before him, or Julius Caesar.
Right, it's much closer to that Henry V. It's like he was in the realm.
Next up on our list is early modern era. Oh, we gotta get you out of here. Early modern era, 1500 CE to 1800 CE. It marks by the Renaissance, global sea exploration, the scientific revolution, and the early global trade.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I had put something to represent science on here. I'll just shoot them off first, and then I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. Mine was Apocalypto.
Okay.
Which is in the early 1500s. And I think that's a great look at sort of the end of a civilization due to this migration that we know is coming, but we're getting it from the other perspective where you don't know what's coming.
Right.
And I thought it was such a beautiful way to tell the story. And honestly, probably the most, besides this, and besides The Passion of the Christ, this and that are probably the two most historically accurate Mel Gibson movies.
I'll agree. Absolutely.
Not the ones where he's in them.
Yeah. If he's directing, it's better than when he's in it. I think that's
when he's in it, it's like, all right, just do Highlander. I don't know. I almost want to change it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it because I think it actually takes place into the 1800s. I'm going to stick with Shogun from 1980, which was a miniseries based on a book. It was fantastic. It showed feudal Japan that was kind of crossing into a more trade. It was opening itself up to trade and new experiences and cultures coming into it, and also expanding. So I think that's a great one to kind of see that early days.
It really is, because you're also getting into that. What was the trade routes? What were they open to? So I agree. I love that.
And I would follow that up with like a Last Samurai or anything Kurosawa based. But a Last Samurai, especially because you get to see like maybe 100 years forward, you know, and like where it still is and how it's changed even more. And then my last one is because I do agree with you, it was a small period of time, but it was a period of time that still I think needs to have eyes shined on it, is Kingdom of Heaven and the Crusades.
That's great. I mean, because that was essentially one of the final true Crusades. So I think that fits very well. That was when we were moving past that era and that mentality. So I like.
So I figured add that because it just gives another insight to also how another great civilization or kingdom was expanding and forcing itself into another area at that time.
Absolutely, and how brutal it was. You know, those expansions back in the days were not pretty. So they do a good job explaining that. So for mine, I start with Master and Commander. Master and Commander shows the best, in my opinion, slice of life for that gaining of when we were smarter, we were gaining scientific knowledge, we were breaking through into greater exploration. And that kind of explained how we were still at war. So there was still that conflict all the time. It was not a safe journey. There was still adventuring going on. There was exploration. And I feel like for a good representation of the age of exploration, this is perfect. This is one of the best movies for it. Elizabeth is always going to be one of my tops for this because she was so integral to creating that world that we know today.
Especially with her involvement with Spain, correct?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I mean, destroying the Spanish Armada. She was responsible for beating that ass. So I mean, who knows what we'd be speaking if she didn't.
That's fair.
And then one of the other ones that I think always hits. Now, this is much later in the era. This is the 1750s. But Last of the Mohicans, there's a big love story in it. Yes, it's cheesy, but seeing where we were in that society pre-American Revolution, I think is a really neat kind of thing to see what our wilderness looked like. I do, of course, have the one that I want to bring up because as much as I love Apocalypto and our discussion of it, I think a better version and a better representation of just exactly what you were discussing but seeing it from the other side. You're seeing it from one side of the apocalypto. If you marry that with The Mission, I think you get a lot out of it. And The Mission is always one of my favorites. That's the Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons movie, which yes, it's a white savior movie. I do have problems with it. At the same
but that
token,
was happening in the time. Like, we were trying to be white saviors going into these countries.
Exactly. So it really shows.
Well.
It shows the darker side of the Age of Exploration. Like, that's why Master and Commander, you kind of, well, Elizabeth, you start with it. Master and Commander shows how we got really good at it and how we were impressive at that level. And then The Mission shows, yeah, we were really impressive, and we were destroying civilizations because they didn't believe in our God. So it's a really interesting run, and I felt like that really encapsulates the time period well.
Love that. I love that. That's fantastic. All right, so we're going into the modern era, which is the 1800s to today, defined by the Industrial Revolution, rapid technology growth, world wars. I love that they just put world wars, and today's global society. I want to preface this list that it was very hard to do from 1800s till now.
Yeah.
With only 3 movies where I want to represent things that I think are so important, but also are jumping off points to research more about that time. So yes, I understand if a lot of people might be like, hey, you left a lot out. I get it. These are 3 things I think we need to know going forward, and these are the movies they represent. I did a build up. You want me to just throw mine out?
Yeah, let's hear, brother.
12 Years a Slave. I think it's a visceral movie that really has an in-depth look at slavery and what that meant. And that was later, and it doesn't even go deep enough. So I mean, but it's a wonderful movie in a way that is such cinematic masterpiece that tells such an important story. So when I say wonderful, I mean in that way. It's an artistic wonderful. Oppenheimer. I realized jumping ahead, and it killed me to jump over the West, because of how integral the West is to American way of life and how it expanded into other countries. But I had to go with Oppenheimer because I feel like the bombs were a huge thing in this history in modern.
Well, it shaped who we are today.
Exactly.
I mean, a direct shaping, a direct correlation. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think Oppenheimer tackled it perfectly, and I think it also tackles the politics of it afterwards perfectly, which is just as important to know.
Yep.
And then my third choice is Trumbo.
Ooh.
I think that the blacklisting and the Red Scare and the McCarthy trials and all of that time is so integral to what we're seeing today, and that has been going on beat for beat every time we've seen a certain party win and take presidency. That it didn't start with McCarthy, but after the war, there was a huge turning point towards paranoia and using paranoia to shape the way we think. And Trumbo shows how hard it was and how hard we were on people. So at that time,
I love that.
And so that's why I think those are 3 things that are very.
That's great. I love that. Mine are a little weirder because I kind of tackled this in different bites. So one of them is kind of a marriage, Gods and Generals, which is about the Civil War. I know Killer Angels is really good, or Gettysburg, whichever version you want to call it. The problem is that focuses on one battle. Gods and Generals give you a bigger stretch and the end of the war. So you get to see how we came out of it. Lincoln, I think, for politics at that time and seeing how things worked and the decisions being made on a larger scale and what it wrought and how people were against it, but also for it. Like, it's very interesting, and not just for Daniel Day-Lewis's performance, but for what the actual Congress was doing. Tommy Lee Jones, I think, steals that movie. But Killers of the Flower Moon.
Wow. Okay.
Because of what we did to the Native Americans and how we treated them and how pure greed wins, baby. Like it or love it or hate it. That's just the reality. 12 Years a Slave is such an impressive choice, by the way. I really love that. And I'm kind of annoyed I didn't go on that route. But Killers of the Flower
Moon. Between that and Roots.
Fair. Yep. Killers of the Flower Moon, though, for me, kind of just shows that when we were killing with the banks, you know, we murdered in a different way. And then just straight up murder.
Well, like with 12 Years a Slave, for me, that was such a blanket choice. Yeah. Because there are other really fantastic movies that cover slavery that I think are important to watch to understand. But 12 Years a Slave, I do think makes you feel a visceral feeling. And I think that's important to kind of maybe spark the idea of learn about this history. It's important. Yeah. And to your point where you're saying with Killers of the Flower Moon and Native Americans, where we only had 3 to choose from, and that's why I chose what I chose. And you gave great points too. I'm so glad you said that, But I also think there's not a lot of great films that cover truly the horrific things the Native Americans went through. Which I would not that I want to exploit it, but I want to say, like, I think it's important, like a 12 Years a Slave, something that makes you feel a visceral feeling. Now, I will say this: there's some great TV and documentaries.
Oh yeah,
that covered
absolutely.
it beautifully
Absolutely.
to the point where, like, you feel it and you're like, I need to learn more about this, become more aware.
Well, and
so when I say beautifully,
why,
it sparks a positivity.
I think that's brilliant. Thank you very much. That's one of the things that I didn't add in here was World War II. Because I think we all know it, we're all aware of it. There's a lot out there, and we've all seen them all. One thing that I do think deserves to be mentioned is Bridge of Spies, because that communism with your Trumbo, it inspires that what was happening domestically, what was happening foreign. I think those really build that together. Hey, y'all, if you want to really get a good history lesson, watch every movie we spoke about today, because you will learn a lot, and you will probably be inspired to go learn more. And that's the goal, baby. Knowledge is power, and if you learn every day, you're doing yourself the service.
And you know what? We got to get going. And you have anything else you want to add before we get going, my friend?
Just that I love you guys, and I hope everyone was entertained and had a good time. I love you, brother. This is such a good. The problem is we could talk about this for another 2 hours.
We could.
This is my wheelhouse, baby.
Go check out.
I just want to tell everyone to be kind to yourselves, kind to yourself, kind to each other.
Thank you. I'm sorry I stepped on that.
No,
I want to say Casey's going to be over doing his thing on Funny Science Fiction podcast, YouTube, and they're doing a RPG of Firefly, and my man here is the dungeon master, so to speak. Go check him out. He'll be doing that tonight. I just want to say thank you guys. Next week we're going to be talking dramas. We're getting into it, so make sure you join us. It's going to be a really fun time. Make sure to follow us at the Scene Snobs all over social media. We do have a Patreon available. We just got done doing the AMA earlier. We do once a month AMAs and other things. We have other perks like pick movies, like our buddy Bronson does for review. Go join up on the Patreon. It all goes back into helping to build out the channel the best we can. There is a free tier if you don't want to join one of the perks, the tiers. You can do a free tier as well. Thank you guys again for joining in with us. Remember to follow us on Substack and on Letterboxd. We do written reviews of all these movies as well. And until next time, make sure, like the man said, you're taking care of yourself, because that's important. But also be kind, rewind, because it's a lot of work. Bye.
Just wrapping up my podcast.